that point into our simulated countdown.
Lunchtime, kids! All right! Hello, friends. It's lunchtime.
Hello and welcome to Lunch Break Show. I am Josh here with Matt Stoker in the booth. A light crew tonight.
That's all you need, baby.
Today. Yeah, skeleton crew. The best is here, though, so don't worry about it. The cream of the crop has risen. Both Zach is on vacation up in the northern part of the United States in his home country of Michigan.
Yeah, country.
Country. It's a state all into itself.
Sure.
And then I think Anna's just taking a leisure day. You know,
she's just out of the office. Doesn't want to come in on a Friday.
Doesn't want to tell us where she is. A lot of stuff going on. I have, and I try to keep these to a minimum because I know that we are a family-driven corporate program.
We're wholesome.
And I don't like to go straight to bathroom humor. I don't. It's easy. It's easy.
Sure. It's right there. It's the low-hanging fruit.
The low-hanging fruit. But I always seem to go number one before the show starts, and stuff always happens to me.
I believe you.
I don't know how or why, but stuff that I go, that's odd.
It truly is impressive that you happen to find a story every time you go to the restroom, but this is where we are.
Yeah, I'll tell you this. I don't bring up 99% of the weird things that happen. I let a lot of that stuff lie. So anyway, I'm going in there to release... and that's probably a better way of saying it.
That's
the better way of saying it. But I go in there to relieve myself. There we go. And I hear this sound. And there's a guy in the stall, whatever, mind his business. But I hear this sound. And it's not the sound you would expect to hear. It's...
Sure. Like a hissing, like a snake?
Like an aerosol can.
Oh, okay.
The guy brings his own Lysol to the bathroom.
Really?
And I wanted to like, dude, come on. But then I'm like, no. Good for you. You know what?
So
good for you.
What is he spraying down in there? Is he spraying down like the seats or just all of the different anything that he might touch? Every
time he has to like flush, he's just doing a little light coating.
Oh, okay. So like a air freshener type thing.
And I'm sure he cleaned the commode before he sat down, which again, good for you, smart. It's one of those things that I wanted it to be like, if you have to bring that to the bathroom, you know something's up.
You've been scolded in the past.
Yeah. But I also want to say, good for you. Good for you for being prepared, being the Boy Scout of this building, of Lincoln Tower 2. And hey, I'm not doing this on my office floor. I'm coming down here because we're the only office down here on the first floor.
Right, and it shocks me sometimes how crowded that restroom can be. I didn't even know it was there for the longest time until we moved down here. I thought, well, that's awfully convenient. But then there's always people in there for one reason or another.
And now given we are next door to the cafeteria, which is a common place. They get 2,000 people a day go to the cafeteria here. So that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But all hours of the day, there's always someone in there. And to me, that's one of those deals. When I was over at iHeart, we were on the 3rd floor. And you would know someone goes, hey, I'm going to go up to 8. Because 8 was the empty floor. And that was because, stuff had to happen.
Sure.
And you just didn't want to do it on your home turf. I get that. But thank you for the guy in the stall for bringing your own Lysol and
looking out for others.
Yeah. Good for you.
I'm going to do a little live production because I just noticed you're wearing a blue shirt. I'm
Yeah.
wearing a blue shirt. The entire room is blue.
Oh,
So
we're
we're
kind
gonna
of bleeding out. Okay, let's go violet.
We're gonna change
Ooh.
this a little bit here.
Look at that.
All right. That's good. It was driving me crazy.
So, and other, like, to me, that's one of those like perfect hacks, life hacks. Bring
Yeah.
in your own, probably travel size kit of Lysol. Another life hack falls today. I'm telling you about it today because it's National French Fry Friday.
Oh boy, is it
And I shared that with you before. We were talking about the best French fries in the fast food realm.
freedom fries, please?
Yes, sorry, yeah, the best freedom fries.
I haven't forgotten.
I have been out before with my family, and my family's from East Texas, and they bleed red, white, and blue, which is also the color of the French flag. I always have to remind them of that.
Right.
And my dad saw French fries on the menu, and he was like, "Ooh, are we there yet?"
How long? Oh, hold on. How long ago was this?
This was like 2 or 3 months ago. Like, ooh, are we there yet? Like, yeah, I think as a
Have
country,
we gotten over this yet?
Yeah, I think as a country we are there. Yeah, so it's one of those like, come on, guys. But my friend of mine, I'll name him Josh Reeder. You can find him on Facebook. Phenomenal guy.
Shout out.
Yeah, Josh Reeder and I were eating at a Whataburger. And I think,
fine dining establishment.
Yeah, Whataburger has good fries.
They do. Above and beyond that, though, they have really good ketchup. So,
yeah, phenomenal. Yeah, great. Do you go with the spicy ketchup or the regular ketchup?
You know what? I like spicy things, but I go traditional ketchup at Whataburger because I really just like the taste. I don't know what they do to it, but it really does taste different. So it's plus they make it so easy. They have the little things that they come in. Like they're not. It's not a ketchup packet. It's like a little dish. Yeah, that you unseal.
And again, I'm trying not to get off the rails here, but I put pepper in my ketchup. I tear the pepper packet, put it inside, add a little something.
Mix it up a little bit in there?
Yeah. Mix it up a little bit, yeah.
Do you ever mix the condiments? Get a little mustard or mayonnaise going on in that thing?
I've done mayonnaise and ketchup before.
Yeah.
A little bit to kind of, but I really don't find it necessary. Either way, we were eating at Whataburger, and I, of course, grabbed the burger and start going to town.
Yeah, what'd you get?
I got the jalapeno cheeseburger.
Okay, solid choice.
Yeah, solid
I like
choice. And he goes, ooh.
A little shame.
Yeah, and I was like, what? He goes, this your first time? I was like, obviously, look at me. I've eaten at Whataburger several times. And he goes, you're doing this all wrong.
Oh, okay.
Like, all right. And he goes, you eat your fries first. And I was like, no, the fries are the filler. The fries are what you eat after you've had your main dish.
Yeah.
In case you're not full, which, let's be honest. And he goes, have you ever not eaten the fries? Like, no, I always eat the fries. He goes, then eat them first, because fries are better hot and they get cold faster.
He makes a good point.
Makes a valid point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, no, on National French Fry Day, kudos to you, Josh Reeder, for pointing out the proper order of eat French fries first, because the burger stays good for a while. Eat those fries while they're piping hot. Cold fries are not good. I don't care where you go. No,
and there's no good way to really reheat them either. I mean, you could, if you're near an oven, maybe you could throw some in the oven, but you can't pop those things in a microwave. Whereas a burger, you possibly could. You could throw it in a microwave for 10 seconds and it stays all right. So I've never heard of this philosophy though of treating fries as like the topping basically of your meal.
Yeah.
It's like that old philosophical experiment where you put all the large rocks in the thing first and then you fill it all with sand or whatever.
Yeah.
If you put the sand in first, nothing fits. But
that makes sense to me, because there have been times when I've left some scraps of fries.
Right.
Like, the small, not the
little
full
crusties.
Yeah, the crusties. I've left those behind before for sure, because I'm full. I had the burger sitting there. I'm fine. I can toss a few fries, and I feel good about myself for not finishing the whole platter.
Yeah.
I'm like, good for me. But if I eat the whole I'm not leaving 2 or 3 bites of hamburger on the tray.
Right. So what I'm hearing though is that you're an all or nothing. Well, not all or nothing, but you're an all of one thing guy, and then you move on to the next item. Right. You get fries and you get a burger. You're eating all of at least one of them, and then you go on to the other thing.
Fast food wise, yes. Fast food wise, I eat one thing at a time. Now,
Yeah.
if I'm at a fancy restaurant like a Brahms or a Grandy's,
Sure, a sit down,
a sit down place,
a sitting establishment.
No, like I've been to Roy's. Roy's is a place that they've taken it off the menu, and I haven't been back since, and I won't Roy's. They're blackened.
Where's Roy's?
Roy's is off the tollway here.
Okay.
They're in Plano. It's a Hawaiian theme, but they have a really good blackened sea salt steak. Phenomenal. And that with the macaroni and cheese, you do a little bit of A, a little bit of B, mix that together.
Sure.
Sir.
Get
sir.
some on your fork.
Yeah, sir. Yeah. That is how every birthday was a steak, macaroni and cheese, steak, mouth. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm a mixer. Like I used to be, even with dinner, I would eat all of my potatoes first, and then I'd eat all of my mac and cheese, and then I'd leave whatever the entree was. But yeah, I've moved on now, including fast food, where get some fries, bite a burger,
Yeah.
get a little ketchup, fries, whatever. Like that's my ideal way of eating it.
I've known people who only eat foods in a certain color range. Have you ever known someone like that?
I've heard of it. I don't know that I've ever known anybody that does it.
How weird is that? There's a friend of mine who eats only food that is like white or pale. Now my wife won't eat blue food. Like she'll eat blueberries,
Okay.
but if it's dyed, like it's not supposed to be blue, but they put some dye in there.
Just not even if
won't
it doesn't
touch it.
change the flavor
Yep.
whatsoever.
Yep. And I think part of that is because a lot of like the drinks that had blue coloring were like a coconut flavor, and she hates coconut flavor. So I think she just kind of automatically puts those together in her head that if it's not supposed to be blue in nature, she doesn't want it.
Yeah. Was there somebody here the other day talking about they don't eat beige foods or something like that, which kind of wipes out my entire diet. I love beige foods apparently, but yeah, it's I think somebody was saying that no beige foods.
No beige.
Yeah.
We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we have a lot on the docket today. We just did the National French Fry Day. We have Blockbuster still has stores remaining. That was surprising to me.
thoughts.
Yeah, a shock to me.
Yeah.
And other things coming up with the napkin store. That and more coming back on the Lunch Break Show. shout out, Matt, for the production there. The timing of the ear flick was spot on.
That's all I wanted out of that whole thing. I was like, I gotta get it right with that one.
And you wonder why people make fun. I love American soccer, European football.
Sure.
And some country calls it foosball, but
who calls it that other than East Texas?
I'm not sure who it is. I just know that they had that on their like docket of like, hey, whether you call it football, soccer, or foosball. I don't know. But people get made fun of around here because on the soccer field because of that kind of stuff right there.
I see a lot of people I know on Twitter going, well, why don't they play all these people diving? Why don't they play a real sport like Smash Mouth American football or something like that?
Well, because you hear about like rugby players, they go all out, and it is aggressive and it's full contact, and there's broken noses and blood and all different kinds of stuff, and they would and to my knowledge, I've watched like 4 rugby matches ever, but they don't do this kind of antics on the field.
Super dramatic.
And from what I understand, I mean, like it happens in soccer because you can get away with it, and you might get a penalty in your favor. But I do think they punish people who do it absurdly. You know?
I know in a lot of leagues, what they do now is they go back and they watch all the games, and if you flop, call it a flagrant flop, which I guess that's like the Neymar like roll 75 times after being tripped, then they can penalize you after the fact. But for the most part, what they're trying to watch for are people who are taking dives in the penalty box, which gets you a free kick, which really increases your chance of getting a goal.
Otherwise, you're just killing some time.
Yeah, killing some time. Yeah. Welcome to the show, Cameron. Cameron, the intern, is joining us today. How's it going, sir?
Going good. How's it going for you guys?
Doing well. Are you old enough? Because you're still in college.
Yep.
So you're in your, I'm going to guess, what, early 20s, 21, 22?
20 years old.
20 years old. Have you ever been into a Blockbuster video before?
Yes, I used to go almost every week.
Really?
I was much younger, yeah.
Where at?
In Raleigh, right? It was about 5 minutes from our house. We had a couple Blockbusters. We'd go rent video games every week. I'd go rent.
I guess that's true. Blockbuster for me started going out when I was in college. We still had some when I was in college.
I remember in my prior house to this one, so we've been in this house for 5 years. There was a Blockbuster down the street. So I guess, I mean, the heyday of Blockbuster obviously was the 90s, but they were still kicking in the mid 2000s, early 2000s. So that sounds about right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, they got rid of a lot of Blockbusters, and when I say a lot, I didn't know there were any left. But an article came out, and the article has said, "Hey, the Alaska's last 2 Blockbusters are closing." So Alaska had 2. Only leaving, there is one, and I can't find where it is off the top of my head, but
I think it's in Oregon, I believe.
There's one remaining Blockbuster video. Just the sole survivor.
I want to go there, man.
Yeah, just for the nostalgia purposes.
Yeah.
But how do they get to stay? Because Blockbuster's done. They closed up. There is no store. So how do they get to keep the name?
The franchise owners, I guess, were given the rights to use the Blockbuster name and logo once the corporate ran out of business, is from what I understand.
So people were buying Blockbuster franchises.
Yeah, a lot of those stores a lot of the early stores, I believe, were owned by franchisees more so than corporate owned them.
Oh, so I guess that does make some sense.
Sure. Yeah.
Do you have any like longing memories of Blockbuster as a kid?
My first job was not at a Blockbuster. It was at a movie gallery, which was Hollywood Video as well. It was the same company that ran both. And so, yeah, I mean, I missed the days of the video store because it was, at that time, it was the meeting place where if you were into movies or, later on, if you were into video games, that was where you went to look at all the box art, find something that you've never seen before, and take it home and watch it with your friends. We would go every Friday night and pick out a couple of movies or pick out a game that we're going to rent for the weekend.
Yeah.
And you'd talk about it with the clerk there if they were, especially when I was working at the, people were always asking advice, and I'd give them some sort of terrible thing that I like, but like they're clearly not going to like it, but they should, because they should like movies that are good. So that was the way it was. You went and you learned about film at the video store. So yeah, I have a very, very deep fondness for Blockbuster, and I miss that scene. You know, I missed going in and finding something that I'd never heard of.
Yeah, I can remember probably being 5th, 6th grade, and my mom and dad, if they wanted to have a date night, I got to go to Blockbuster and pick out either one video game or 2 movies, which I thought was a sweet deal. I'd usually go for the video game.
Yeah.
And they would order me a small pizza. And some sort of diet beverage, I'm sure, and I would get to like watch TV, play video games, and eat pizza and drink, and then you could have left me there for days, and I wouldn't have known the difference. And they would go out for dinner and come back home. So that was mine. In Carthage, we didn't have a Blockbuster because it's a small town. We had a video outlet or video emporium, whatever they called it. And the only thing I remember about that is me and my friends in high school there was a curtain to a room that you couldn't go into. Ooh. Yeah. And there were videos in that room that you couldn't see. And so we would just watch the curtain to see who was coming in and going out and being like, ooh.
Would you try to catch it while it was open?
Oh, yeah. Like, look in, peek in. But the thing is, they didn't, like, we could have just walked in. There wasn't anyone in there. Like,
nobody manning it.
No one manning the curtain. It's just like a curtain was like this impenetrable barrier for these young high school kids. And we could not get past that one obstacle. So we would just stand there and like look around and who's coming out, who's going
So
in.
when I was growing up in Springtown, for the longest time, we had only this place called Action Video, which was, again, like one of those mom and pop stores. And that was the game in town until probably the late 90s, whenever Movie Gallery opened up. And that was tantamount to Walmart coming in. You know, here comes the Dothan, Alabama-based movie gallery to put Action Video out of business. And they were literally right across the street from each other. And I went to work at Movie Gallery, and one time I remember my manager saying, I don't know why we needed to do subterfuge on, like, I don't know why we needed to go spy on them, but we needed to go over there and just see what they were charging for movies.
Yeah.
So he sent me over there. I want to say he had me change clothes because I wasn't going to go over there in my red Movie Gallery shirt.
Yeah.
So I changed clothes, and I had to take a notepad. And I had to go and write down because they had a big board behind the counter of here's what a one-night rental is, here's a weekend rental, and I had to go and I had to write them down. And the dude caught on like immediately.
Yeah.
And because one, he knew me, and two, like obviously I'm in here with a notepad writing down. He was like, "Get the hell out of here! What are you doing?"
This is back before the camera phone. You just take a picture and then run off.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it was. I had to go. Literally, it was my only time undercover, and I blew it immediately. I was not a very good spy. And to this day, I don't understand why we had to do that. I mean, you could have just called over there and asked.
Yeah, well, good for the remaining Blockbuster in Oregon. I'm sure, and of course, it's in Oregon. The only place that now they feel bad for the corporate giant, Blockbuster. Now that it is a locally owned mom and pop.
It's an endangered species.
Yeah, Blockbuster Video. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I saw Sarah Strackhouse out in the lobby, so we're going to go into news. She has lots of stuff going on right now from things that are happening both home and abroad. That's the news on the lunch break when we come right back.
Concentrate.
It's over, Rock.
Now that it's over, just give me something to drink.
There ain't nothing on ice till I say it now.
Lipton Briscoe's here. Except maybe this. Brad Balboa needs a miracle.
Yo, that's brisk, baby.
Get in there. Save some of that for the sequel.
Well done, Bruce Lee. But those men were flabby and weak.
Whew, Karate Kid?
Kid. Ha, I'm 35. You lack focus. My master will teach you.
Arnold from Happy Days? Lipton Brisk Iced Tea. Where did you get that? Editing mistake. In my favor. Brisk baby! Only fool fight man with Brisk.
Those commercials take you back, don't they?
They really. I mean, yeah. Speaking of Blockbuster, those are time capsules.
We have Sarah Strackhouse-Hen, our correspondent out there, bringing us up to speed on all the serious issues of the day. So Trump's in the UK.
Yep.
Is he causing waves, or is this a peaceful olive branch petition overseas?
A little bit of both, honestly. So in a press conference this morning, President Trump and UK Prime Minister Theresa May have vowed to fully cooperate together when it comes to trade agreements. Now, this, of course, after an interview in The Sun where Trump said she, quote, wrecked it in regards to the Brexit deal. So Fox News reports Trump said in a press conference this morning that the article didn't talk about all the nice stuff he said about her. And when he told her that that tidbit of information, she said, well, it's just the press. That's what Trump said. Well, he also told her this morning, quote, whatever you're going to do is okay with us. Just make sure we can trade together. That's all that matters.
There you go.
The Prime Minister said that they're planning to work out a trade deal with the U.S. and, of course, others across the world.
Phenomenal.
So, yeah.
Did they still get to do the protest where they had the giant Trump balloon?
There's a lot of protesting. I didn't see the actual balloon, but there's a lot of protesting out there, and Trump said he feels unwelcome.
You don't say.
I would too.
I think they had, and this is the kind of protesting I like. They went out, filed the correct procedure and the policy, and got all the paperwork checked off to have a giant balloon floating across Windsor Castle of Donald Trump.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, that's
well
spot
done.
on. Yeah,
well done.
Well done.
If you're going to protest, it's the way to do it.
Yeah, do it right.
Yeah.
Making a Macy's Day Parade.
That's exactly where my mind goes, some sort of big animal.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, moving on. The major merger of AT&T and Time Warner may be short-lived. So CNBC reports that the Justice Department is appealing the $85 billion deal. Apparently, they were disappointed in the ruling last month. Federal Judge Richard Leon said that the merger was, quote, legal and imposed no conditions on the merger. AT&T said, though, that the merger would help them compete against giants like Amazon and Netflix, these other huge companies. But the Justice Department says that it'll, quote, make the pay TV market less competitive and less innovative. So now, while that appeal kind of goes through that whole process, the deal is on hold.
I don't know if the TV market could get less innovative or less competitive.
Yeah.
Good grief, man.
I actually saw on the cover of Fortune magazine, they had the picture was very telling. It had a cable box in a trash can with paper on top of it, and it said, "So long, cable TV."
Yeah.
I was like, man, that is
Bold.
Pretty direct there.
that is a direct statement of how they feel. And it's true. You've priced everyone out of a product. We were talking about this the other day. I think you could do a lot better if you had I think it was Zach. We were talking in the off the show, and he goes, if you would just buy 50 tokens, and HBO counts for 3 tokens, and NBC counts
Love
for
that.
2 tokens, and if you want the History Channel, that's 1 token. However you want to divide it up,
right?
Give everything a value, and you get for $25 or $30, you get 50 tokens. And then they go, sure, I want to buy this and this and this. And it gives a custom package deal for every single one, and they can do that. They just choose not to. You would have a lot more people saying, you know what, I'll stay. I'll stick around. I'll be here. But unfortunately, you have to buy 300 channels if you want to get those channels, and they're all garbage. And I'm not paying for them because now I'm looking at this as a value of 300 divided by 25, and I'm only using 5%. So why buy the whole thing?
And what's happening is the bundling isn't occurring at the AT&T or Verizon level. It's occurring at the content producer level. So at Viacom, at Time Warner, and NBC, they're the ones who are forcing. If you as a cable company want these to offer these channels to your customers, you have to subscribe to all of these.
Yeah. But
right. Yeah. We want if you want to have some of the big networks, you got to take some of these other smaller networks as well that we have on offer.
For a while, we tried to do that. We tried to buy a la carte, and then we told the company wouldn't do anything. So we left television for a while. We ended up getting it back, but it was the same exact thing you're talking about. We were like, well, why can't we do a la carte? And they were like, well, if you're doing that kind of pricing, then it's almost double the amount.
Yeah. Yep.
Then what? What?
Wait, so the TV reporter didn't have TV?
I watched everything online. I streamed it. I mean, yeah, I still recorded all my newscasts and shows. But
Cameron, do you have any desire to have like cable? I don't know if you have cable or if you have access to cable, but when you're out on your own after college, do you have any desire to buy a cable package?
Absolutely not. I'm full on Hulu, Netflix, and Amazon. That's all I need.
Yeah, we cut ours a couple of years ago, and when I first did it, or leading up to it, I thought, man, this is gonna suck, because I was a channel surfer and I would leave the History Channel on all day or something like that, and other than that first month where I thought to myself, I really wish I could go watch this or that, I haven't thought about it ever since, and I can't imagine, unless it was just they drastically reduced the price, I cannot imagine a scenario where I would go back to that.
Yeah, and so it's one of those deals. I hope they figure it out. They're not going to. I think they're going to go the way of Blockbuster by saying, "But we're Blockbuster," and they're going to get creamed by all the companies that come after them.
But we're DirecTV.
Yeah, you love us.
You'll love us.
Yeah.
Well, so I worry a little bit about Hulu in this situation as well, because I mean they're dependent on the content providers as well. You look at Netflix. Netflix is trying to branch out on their own more or less. But and Hulu does a little bit, but there's still going to have to be a place for the NBCs and the Viacoms of the world to go.
But you can get that all online though. As long as you have somewhat of a subscription or something, you can watch all of those shows in live time all online rather than just having like a dish.
Yeah, I don't think NBC is going away. I think what they're going to realize is the paying whatever small amount they pay to have the reality shows on TLZ or whatever the weird stations, not weird stations, whatever the other stations are, that will go away.
Yeah.
That they're just going to really cut down and become more choosy on what they have on TV. Right now, it is not hard to get on a TV channel. If you genuinely want to do it and you can afford a couple grand, you can go out and pitch yourself and try to get a reality series.
You can end up somewhere.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So It can be. I almost started naming names of shows, and I thought, no, what?
That's okay. I know who you're talking about.
I want to back up from this. I caught myself. I'm so proud of myself. Go ahead.
Well, our next story. Speaking of all these TV shows, Netflix has knocked HBO off of its throne.
Whoa!
Pun intended.
Nice. Well done. Well done.
Well, it's actually, I can't even take credit for that. CNN reports that each year it's a battle for the Emmys when it comes to streaming services, of course. Netflix's recent investment puts them ahead of HBO with 112 nominees versus HBO's 108. So they won by 4, at least in nominations, of course. Netflix's COO said this showed the company's, quote, varied and expansive slate.
Yeah. I like Game of Thrones. I've watched a half of an episode. I know people love it. I'm fine with it.
It doesn't sound like you like it.
I couldn't get into it.
Okay. Half of an episode?
Yeah. There's a whole lot of
a lot of people.
Strong imagery. There's a whole lot of strong imagery for me to go, ooh. I'm good.
This is my thing.
Yeah, I'm good. And so I just couldn't get, and everyone's like, oh, but you'll love it. Get past, and then it gets to like season 6, and then the strong imagery is there as well. And like siblings are having, it's just a weird thing. I couldn't get past it. I'm sure it's a phenomenal, well done thing, but for me, Netflix all the way. I do The Office. I do Parks and Rec. I do Friends. But basically that's just on loop at my house. We're sitting down and we're just catching up on the 100th time we've gone through The Office or the 100th time we've gone through those. I can't get into Hulu because we don't pay for commercial free, and it bugs me. It's like $2 more a month, and I won't pay it.
It's a
But
lot of
yet
commercials.
I get mad every time there's a commercial on. I should just pay it. It'll help my blood pressure.
They play the same commercials too.
Yeah.
It's the same ad. You can watch it for like 8 hours. And
Yeah.
It's the same one over.
My
and over.
wife loves the breaks.
Oh, I can't stand when they pause and they ask your opinion on something. I'm
Yeah.
like, if I wanted to give you my opinion, I'd email you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do this in the middle of watching TV or Hulu where it's kind of far away. I have to move or do something.
Yeah.
Like, clearly I'm watching because I feel like being lazy right now.
Answering your surveys.
Yeah,
me
let me
not
just
think.
go.
Yeah.
I'll take a quick break. When we come back, we have a guest in. Oh wait, no, we have a kicker
I
story.
was going to say, you don't want
Yeah.
to hear about the chaos?
Stop. Yeah, I apologize.
Build-A-Bear?
Yeah, we do.
Please.
All right. Well, it was chaos in Build-A-Bear in England. According to Sky News, Build-A-Bear launched a Pay Your Age Day where parents could literally go and whatever age their child was, they could pay it in pounds.
Not a value for me. I'll go on a different day.
Not helpful for me either. But anyways, because of this, it was about a mile long, the line was, and people were told that they were going to wait about 9 hours. And there was these news outlets are calling unrest. It was causing people to get a little rowdy, upset. So police were actually called in, and it got so bad that eventually the offer was abandoned, and the
Made it worse. Yeah.
yeah, and the company actually just started handing out $12 vouchers.
It's one of those deals that when you have a bad idea, which is, hey, let's cause mass panic. The worst thing that you can do to that is when people have been waiting and getting upset is to
9
go,
hours.
psych. Just kidding. That's not how you fix that. Yeah, I don't know how, other than just going out and handing out bears, I don't know what else you could have done.
But also, I mean, I look at this and like the people in line who are upset, I get it. It was an annoyance, but you weren't owed a Build-A-Bear.
Nope.
No.
You didn't pay to get in line and then they shut down and said, sorry, we're taking your money.
Yeah.
Like, if I had showed up there with my kid and it was like, I'm going to get, $10 off a Build-A-Bear, and I see a line that's 7 hours long, sorry, I'm not doing this today.
Sorry, buddy.
We'll go back. I'll pay the extra
You're
$10.
choosing to wait 7 hours.
Yeah. They don't owe you anything. I mean, I get it. It's a bad situation, but I mean, sorry, you chose to spend your day that way. It's like the Black Friday stuff.
Yeah, but in the world that we live in, the moment you tell me that Build-A-Bear cost my son's or daughter's age, which could be £1, and then you tell me I don't get to have it, and I have to come back and spend now £12.
Sure.
That's a huge difference. I am owed at this point in time. I came out. I am owed a Build-A-Bear for the cost of that you promised me initially.
Yeah.
And that's the world we live in, and they had to have known that going into this. Whoever your marketing person is, that's like, hey, I got a great idea. And I bet you what they thought is that what they should have done is, hey, we're doing a surprise sale. Everyone in the store right now, the Build-A-Bear you're getting is only the cost of the kid that you brought.
Or online and schedule it or something.
Yeah,
You
something.
know?
This is just
Or the
poor
first 100 customers
Yeah.
or something, they get
Sure.
their bear for a certain cost, and then you have a reason to shut it down. But
Right.
Yeah, no, it was just again poor planning on there. And the CEO actually apologized on the Today Show.
I can't remember which one
Yeah.
it was, but yeah, one of the early morning shows, and it was just like,
Yeesh. When we come back, we have a guest in who's going to talk about Hooves for Heroes. It's a equine thing for soldiers who are returning home from war. It is a real life fighter pilot. His name is Jeff Hensley. That coming up next on the Lunch Break Show.
love that idea.
toughest man ever. Meet Frank Cannonball Richards. Richards began his unusual belly-bashing quest in the 1920s.
The tremendous development of his stomach muscle.
He encouraged spectators to jump on him, asked people to whack him with a sledgehammer. In a feat for which Cannonball Richards would be forever remembered, he was shot in the belly with a 104-pound cannonball, appearing relatively unfazed by the experience and going on to make a career out of his ability. He took a cannonball to the belly twice a day in front of gobsmacked crowds. Frank Cannonball Richards lived to a ripe old age of 81. Unfortunately, he didn't live long enough to see himself immortalized on a Van Halen album cover, parodied on The Simpsons, or even referenced on Seinfeld. He had, however...
Phenomenal. The Cannonball Richards guy. That guy is... a true hero. You know, if you have one skill you can be, it's I can take a cannonball right to the stomach.
Hey man, good for him. Good for him for figuring that out early and getting it done.
My dad said I wouldn't make anything of my life. Ha! In your face. We're joined with special guest Jeff Hensley. You spent 21 years being a commander in the Navy, flying F-14s, which Matt said is his favorite jet.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful jet.
It was funny. He made the comment. He goes, "I wish those were still around." He goes, "Everything I flew in the Navy has now all been retired," much like himself. So before we get into your event that you have coming up this weekend, I had the story. I saw it, and I wanted to get your take. So this professor at Boston University, him and his wife decided to go out for a relaxing hike up in the White Mountains. I'm not sure where that is. I'm guessing somewhere in the Northeast. And they're up there and they're hiking and they go to bed one evening and she wakes up and he's gone. And so, of course, she freaks out. She calls the Park and Wildlife, and a massive manhunt has gone for her husband, who may be a sleepwalking episode. A bear came in and unzipped the tent and gingerly removed him from the bed.
Only him.
Yeah, him and only him, and stealth. That's how bears operate. Don't get me wrong. And so a large manhunt went underway for a few hours, and then he was found. The problem is, and this is where the sticking point, and I would like to get your opinion as a commander in the Navy and someone who has honor and respect. He abandoned his wife. So the story goes is they were camping and he was not comfortable, couldn't sleep, and was hot and tired. And so he just got up and left. And walked down the mountain to the nearest motel hotel, checked himself in, and got a great night's sleep. I can't tell you the amount of trouble I would be in. One, for taking my wife on a camping trip.
Yeah.
One. And then two, abandoning her to wake up alone inside of a tent in the White Mountains.
The police would be my least problem.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine what would be going through his head. So he's being fined by the Parks and Wildlife Department, and I don't think it's his fault. I don't think that he should be fined. Do you agree or do you disagree?
Well, that's a good question. I think he probably made his own bed for that one night of comfort. To spend the rest of his life in discomfort in his marriage is probably punishment enough.
Yeah, he's paying $3,000 to a charity that goes back into like preserving the parks and wildlife.
Well, I take back what I said.
Yeah, good for him. Yeah, he should have to pay some money to charity. And
I didn't know that part. When you first said that headline, I thought he had just like gone on to a different campsite or something. Or different places. I didn't know he actually abandoned her in the woods and went and got a motel. Yeah, which man, you got to be done at that point to think that's going to be okay.
Yeah, your marriage is on the rocks at best for you to be like, you know what? Nah, I don't care. Because for me, I'm a pretty sound sleeper. So my wife could have shooken me and been like, I don't care, you're sleeping through it all. But she would have left a note. She would have texted me, hey, I'm going down the mountain, which she would not have done. But something if she was more comfortable with hiking, hey, I'm going down to the whatever it is, and getting a room, call me in the morning, we'll have continental breakfast. But for me just to be like, she'll be all right.
She'll figure it out.
Yeah, she'll figure it out and just take off. Man, you're in a world of hurt for a long time. For a long time coming. So I wanted to talk to you today. You came in because you have a phenomenal event coming up next week on Friday, and it's called Hooves for Heroes.
Right. Hooves for Heroes is actually
the organization.
The program. That's right.
And, tell me about the event.
The event itself is called Boots and Salutes. It's our second annual celebration of the Hooves for Heroes program. A lot of folks are familiar with eQuest. It's a nonprofit that's been around for 37 years in Dallas, serving special needs populations through equine therapy. And we started about 6 years ago helping veterans and military families to overcome the challenges associated with their service and make for a smoother transition by connecting them with horses. So in those 6 years, we've worked with about 1,000 veterans and military families, and this is one of our big fundraisers to ensure that we can continue to do that at no charge to them.
It's one of those deals, you hear a lot about, animal cooperation with veterans to help with that transition, and the popular ones are obviously dogs. There's Northwest Battle Putties, a lot of organizations that help, to help give dogs to veterans. And what is it about helping another animal that some reason, like taking care of another animal, helps you transition faster back from a combat scenario back to civilian life?
Well, I think it was certainly in the case of horses, one of the biggest helps is the ability to form an authentic relationship. Horses, they don't have any ulterior motives. They don't have any agendas. They will take you or leave you as you are at your most authentic. And so if you can't be emotionally vulnerable and learn how to build a relationship on trust and respect, then the horse is going to let you know and know on certain terms. And so if you can do it successfully, it kind of forms a template for building those kinds of relationships elsewhere in your life. And the fact is, we all come home with different things, different issues, and one of the most supportive factors that we can possibly do to help get over any of those issues is to have a support network that's strong, good foundation, and that's those are our loved ones.
So you've seen thousands of people coming through your program, and that genuine connection with a horse, I can vouch for. I am a city boy through and through. I did spend some years in East Texas, but not riding horses. I remember in college I took an internship, and there was a guy that owned a cattle farm. And he goes, "Hey, you're from East Texas. Can you ride a horse?" And I was like, "I've ridden a horse before. Sure, yeah, I can ride a horse.
I've been placed upon a horse.
Yes, I have been able to sit on horse while it walked. Fine. But this was a full on, like, he was a rancher. We were trying to herd cows back into. I am not that.
It's kind of varsity level.
Yeah. I was. That horse looked at me and knew right away. Like this guy's, and he made me suffer the entire time. Would not go where I wanted him to go. He was just like, "Nope, you're a fool, and I'm going to treat you like one until you have earned my respect as a horse." So there is something to that connection that you have to build with a horse, and over time, and getting that respect. And it's phenomenal that organizations like you exist. What's a good website if people want to learn more about the organization and how they can get involved?
Our website is equest.org. It's EQUEST, and if they go equest.org/boots, they can see specific information about this event. equest.org/veterans, and they can read all about the Hooves for Heroes program.
Is this something that's open to the public, or is it a closed? Is it a closed?
It is. It's open to anybody who supports veterans and military families and is interested in equine therapy.
And we have a link on our Facebook page right now, or on this post right now, for anybody that wants to learn more.
I think I've been to an event y'all had a few years back, maybe 2 years back, at a golf course, and
we did some golf tournaments a while back, and that was such a huge heavy lift. And the thing was, we didn't have any horses there, and it wasn't our ranch, and so people were like, "Well, what does this have to do with eQuest?"
Yeah. So, but it's one of those deals that I think it was a phenomenal event, and you got to hear some stories from people who showed how it impacted them, because it's kind of hard if you've never been through it, if you've never experienced it or know anyone who's experienced it. It's kind of hard in that moment to understand how it helps. And so I think that's, if you have the time on Friday, swing by, check it out, go in. At the end of the day, you're still helping people who fought and served for our country. Learn more about it, get involved, and get invested. Jeff, I appreciate your time.
Oh, thanks very much. I appreciate you having me on, Josh.
We'll be right back on the Lunch Break Show.
Konnichiwa. Konnichiwa. I brought a real sushi lady in to make real sushi sandwiches for us. Hi. Sushi Torichi desu. Hi. 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 She's friendly lady. What do we have here? The building blocks of sushi. Sushi meat, peaches, and guacamole. Wasabi. What's up? Wasabi. It's not that hard to let other people from other countries talk to you. If you have peaches and it's just all peaches and cream all the time, it'd just be a dessert, you dungo. I love guacamole. It's my favorite. What's up? Oh, it's really hot guacamole. Holy guacamole! Check it out.
I do not approve of that. just for the record, what a weird show. I think Matt and Zach pointed this show. Actually, no, it was Zach. I'll give him all the credit.
Yeah, blame him.
Zach showed me. I guess he has like a series on YouTube.
Yep. Yeah, it's excerpts from
Swim or whatever it is.
From I think Tim and Eric, I believe, is where that came from. So yeah.
Yeah, the things you find online are just behoo. I feel like an old man. I'm like, oh, the things kids watch these days. We have a yin and yang story to wrap up the show. We have two things. Cameron has a cold brew coffee story that I am unaware of, so I do want to get to that.
I've only seen it via text. I got a text that said, "Hey, Cameron is doing something with cold brew coffee. Can he come down?" I was like, I didn't even respond, and he was here.
He was here. Boom. So we have that, and then before we get to that, here's the yang to Cameron's yin, and that there are napping stores popping up all over the U.S.
Napping stores.
And I say all over, they're popping up. So I think this goes back to what we were talking about before, where they're doing napping pods in airports, and you and I are on the same page. Unless we're first, we're not going in there.
Yeah, I'm not second in the napping pod.
Yeah. That's got to be the same thing with this. This place is called the Dreamery, which no, I'm not going into that. I'm not going to have a credit card statement that says that I spent, what I was like, I'm sure $50 at a place called the Dreamery.
Right, that better show up as 7-Eleven on the statement.
Yeah. I'd be more proud that I dropped $50 at 7-Eleven than I would at the Dreamery or Nap York or some other places that are going around. They offer you complimentary refreshments, toothpaste, toothbrush, and pajamas to sleep in, and you get your own private nook and a comfy Casper mattress. I'm not sure what a Casper mattress is.
That's a brand of mattress.
Yeah. It's like one of those online mattress companies, like the Purple Mattress, Purple Bed, that kind of deal.
So I get it, but if you're, I don't get it. I get the airport. The airport makes sense to me. You're traveling. You're going to South Africa, and you did a 10-hour, and I can't sleep on planes, so I understand getting off a flight. You got a long layover before your next flight, and you're tired. And I just want, then if I can get like an hour of like good sleep, I'd be solid. I get that. When you're traveling in a city, you have a hotel room, you have a place to sleep. Go back there and take a nap.
You would think so. Or if you're in your own city and you're out shopping or something and you're in the mall and you're like, oh, gosh, I'm too tired to go on. Should I go home or should I go and rent a room for an hour and then keep shopping?
Yeah.
Go home.
Yeah.
I don't know.
If you're too tired to function in your own town and you're not going home, change your priorities. Like, learn. Like, you can't do that. I don't understand. But yeah, you pay $25, which is not bad for all the stuff that you get. I'm going to guess that these sheets aren't probably like high thread count, and the pajamas aren't probably top of the line.
They're not silk.
Yeah, they're not silk pajamas. Yeah. Now, if you got like a robe and a pipe, okay, now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah,
a gentleman's only club with a bathrobe and those kind of like Playboy pajamas. And I'm not being like, no girls allowed. This is legitimate, like guys only. There's napping pods, cigar parlor, brandy. Okay.
Well, so this was the thing that I was introduced to from reading like old Raymond Chandler novels, like old detective stories. And there were places, I don't know, I assume these still exist, but they're like smoking parlors basically, where they have these giant high back chairs.
Yeah.
And people would go in there, they'd have a pipe or a cigar, and then they just pass out in the chairs. That's what they were there for. is people would just go and take naps in these giant rooms with just rows and rows of these big leather chairs, and they'd sleep, and you wouldn't bother them, and they'd wake up and go on about their day.
I had a situation like that happen to me, where when I was in radio, they gave me a year-long membership to the gym. Worked wonders, and it was a high class gym. Mm-hmm. They had a phenomenal sitting area with the stocks were on TV, a breakfast snack area. These chairs were really comfortable, and I had just done a pretty legit workout, swam a whole lot, hopped in the sauna, and I was going to sit down with just a towel on and just take a second.
You're feeling relaxed.
Yeah, feeling relaxed. Want to take a second and just kind of watch some TV and just enjoy the environment. I'm mingling with the 1%, and I want to just enjoy myself. And everyone knew I didn't belong there. And it became really apparent when I fell asleep on the couch, lying there with just a towel on, and the towel had moved, let's just say. Oh. So I woke up, and I was just spread. Just spread on the chair.
Were you laying wait, was it a couch or a chair?
I was sitting on an armchair, and then I had the towel under me because I'm a classy gentleman.
I wish I could get a good shot of what you're portraying here.
I was man-spreading, I think is the term, and just asleep like this for I don't know how long. I don't know how long it was or what time frame. It could have been an hour and a half. It could have been 10 minutes. I have no idea. The same dumb stock show was on, and I didn't know what they were talking about. I was 25, 26, just got up, looked around, gathered my things, and left. But I can only imagine the poor guy that has to walk in and go, oh, come on, man.
Well, let's be honest. They probably haven't seen anything. I mean, they've seen worse things, probably.
Yeah, of course they have.
Yeah.
Of course they have.
Naturally.
So, Cameron, you have a cold brew, either story or tell me more about this.
We're ready.
So I'm going to start with the question. How often do you guys drink coffee, and how much do you drink on your normal weekday when you come in?
For me, I drink when Anna's in because she makes coffee in the back. I probably have about
We're helpless right now.
Yeah. There's no coffee going on. Thanks, Anna. I have about 3 or 4 cups.
Okay.
Of the little
mug.
So it's 8 ounces? So
yeah.
8 times 3.
What if I told you you get the same amount of caffeine in 6 ounces as all 3 cups put together?
I would say that to me, it's not about the caffeine. It's about the drinking of the coffee. I feel like it's like a feeling for me. I've tried cold brew. I know cold brew is more condensed. It's more of you get all the caffeine in a smaller dose, which I'm cool with. Mm-hmm. But I like drinking hot coffie.
Okay, so it's more about the ritual and the process.
It's the ritual and the process.
Actual chemical itself.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I understand that. For me, it's about the caffeine.
Yeah, this is just pure efficiency here.
Yes. Well, I'm getting up at 7. I'm like, I can't function without it.
Yeah.
And I never was a big coffee drinker before I came to Texas, and Sarah was drinking this cold brew in the morning, and she's like, "Do you want some?" I'm like, "Sure." And it's called Chameleon. You get it at Costco. It comes in a big box, and it's a coffee concentrate, and I had this stuff, and it was like magic. I was awake. I was like, this is great every day.
Now, you're supposed to add water to this stuff, right? Or something to it to dilute it.
Depends on you can use it to serve a lot of people. So you can buy it, and then that will serve 30, 40 people out.
Or add milk or something, maybe. Yeah.
I was drinking it straight because...
Good Lord.
It was...
That's why you've been up there in a meth haze, vacuuming and cleaning, and, hey, I'm gonna process this. And you've been working really well. I'm like, man, this guy is... That's why you've been on the old Joe.
Hyper caffeinated.
Yeah.
So this stuff is $20, $25 for a box. It's really expensive. And we got to the end of the first week and we ran out. And I was like, I'll be fine. Wake up the next morning, and I didn't have my coffee, and I had the worst caffeine headache of my life. It was just straight, it was terrible. It was miserable.
You let Sarah take you over here.
Yeah. So I'm like, we can't continue this, but I also don't want to spend $20 a week on boxed coffee. So we decided to make our own. That's what we were doing last night, was making our own cold coffee concentrate. And I have a question. What do you think has more caffeine, light roast or dark roast?
Light roast.
Okay, and you'd be correct.
Yeah.
And so we got 2. We got a super dark roast and a super light roast, and we're gonna do a scientific test.
I like this so far. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it's 7 cups of water and 12 ounces by weight of ground coffee, and you let it sit for about 24 hours, and then you filter it out, and then you have about a quarter liquid left, about 4 cups of liquid. That is your concentrate, and it has about 260 milligrams of caffeine per 6-ounce serving versus an 8-ounce cup of coffee has around 90 milligrams of caffeine.
Got it. You're saying milligrams. I don't know what that is, but yes, I follow you.
Yeah. That's all I got.
Oh, yeah. So how did the experiment come out?
Well, it's in progress right now. We're waiting for it to
Are you going to bring any of this stuff up here for us to sample?
We can do that. We can bring some in for you guys.
I mean, I knew that Sarah is always super caffeinated because Sarah has more energy than like a Chihuahua puppy.
Yeah.
Like it is just like bing, 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 and she's always happy. And whatever she's taking, I wouldn't mind getting on a drip.
Getting on that train.
Yeah, because it is efficient. She is in every meeting, every workshop, and she is here from dawn till dusk. And never have I seen her go, like never. It's always like, yep, and then she's just bouncing around. So
I'm curious to know how this turns out because we also have, we don't have the box, but we have a bag of cold brew concentrate at home that we use to make like iced lattes or something like that. So we're adding milk and stuff to that, which I saw a thing, I guess yesterday, that really spoke to me, which was I don't like coffee, I like creamer. Which is kind of the truth. Like I love the taste of coffee, but I'm not a black coffee drinker. So my ritual is getting it to taste exactly the way I want it to.
Yeah. On a closing note, Starbucks has added a new beverage, and I forget what, like the mocha, I don't know what it's called. My wife ordered it for me before. Whatever it is, the cream, the little foam. I'm sure it's like 1,000 calories, but it is phenomenal. It is phenomenal.
Nice.
So we'll have to go up there and make a little trip.
Sure.
And, I forget what it's called. Someone can remind me if someone's watching.
To our horribly named coffee place we need to go to?
Yeah, it's the whatever it is. But they serve the real deal drink, so that they probably will have it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it is a legitimate. The foam is the best part of that cup.
Okay.
To the point where I've bought an extra black coffee, and after I drink it, I pour the black coffee in there just to get that foamy goodness.
Get it going again?
Yeah, on another batch. That is our lunch break show. We'll be back on Monday. Anna will be here again. Zach will still be on vacation, but we'll be here back Monday morning. Please like, subscribe, and follow. We are the Lunch Break Show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here from 12 until 1.